Have fair housing laws gone too far? Today is April 10th, 2026. This is National Fair Housing Month, and I've committed to releasing a video on fair housing every day this month. I recently received a comment on one of my videos arguing that fair housing laws are overly intrusive, restrictive, and burdensome. Now, looking at this person's other comments, it seems they don't believe in racial bias or systemic racism, and they hold concerning views about safety related to race. So while this may not be the most objective person posing the complaint, let's look further into their question. First, let's examine the facts regarding modern discrimination. A major investigative report, Long Island Divided, detailed recent fair housing violations. The investigation found that every racial minority was discriminated against to some extent, but Black prospective buyers were discriminated against a staggering 49% of the time. Agents gave white testers 50% more listings than their equally qualified Black counterparts, not to mention steered Black customers into gang-riddled neighborhoods, and required pre-approval from Black buyers that were often not required from white buyers. In other words, Black Americans received lesser service from the same agents nearly half the time. Second, let's look at where we came from. In 1966, before the Fair Housing Act became law, Ronald Reagan said, and I'm quoting for historical accuracy, "If an individual wants to discriminate against Negroes or others in selling or renting his house, he has a right to do so." It is somewhat telling that Reagan used the pronouns he and him, because women didn't have basic independent access to home ownership yet. The original Fair Housing Act of 1968 established protections based on race, color, religion, and national origin. However, the legal and lending obstacles for women, such as being denied credit or a loan without a male cosigner, were not fully addressed until 1974 with the passage of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, a full 6 years after the Fair Housing Act. Finally, let's look at what is truly at stake. Homeownership is, without a doubt, the greatest vehicle for wealth creation for the middle class. The median net worth of a typical U.S. homeowner is currently about $430,000, compared to just $10,000 for the average renter, a staggering 43 times difference. As someone who grew up in a lower middle class family, I know that buying my first home at 24 made a huge difference in my and my family's financial trajectory. Yet, up until 1968, people of color, and specifically Black Americans, were systemically disenfranchised from this opportunity. What is striking about fair housing laws is that the only requirement is to treat everyone fairly and to provide opportunity equally. I don't understand how this is intrusive, restrictive, or burdensome, unless of course you want to discriminate, which is exactly why we still have them.